and welcome back to the first official house video of 2025. Now our renovation journey picks back up after having left the province and the house to go tour abroad for Christmas back in November, but now we are back in Canada and in the car on the way to Nova Scotia. As luck would have it, after an uneventful 12-hour commute, we pulled into our driveway just as the area got a massive blizzard that dumped several centimeters of snow on the area. And nothing wakes you up after sitting in the car all day like shoveling through a ton of snow. Good morning. It is our first day back in the house, and for the most part, pretty good news. The house is still standing. It is still heated. Things are honestly probably about as good as I could have hoped. The best piece of news has definitely been the fact that when we arrived, the heating was still working. The house was maintaining 16 degrees, which is what Phil set it at when he left in October. The bad news is we're not actually sure that the house can get up much higher than 16, but it's okay. Remember, we have only the bottom floor heated, so one floor is trying to heat the entire house. So once we install the heating in the second half, which is a top priority, ASAP, then hopefully the whole house will start getting much warmer. But the fact that it maintained 16 means it's just so much better for the house. The heating system is working. That was the good news. The not so good news is this letter that I hold in my hand, dated January 10th, which says, "Dear homeowner, as you are aware, the town upgraded our meter reading system. It now utilizes a new meter reporting system which can track daily usage. Please note, our system has detected continuous consumption of water at the property whose bill is attached to this letter." Let me remind you, the property is this one, the owner is me, and that there has been continuous consumption over the last few months in this house where there was no one living. The letter continues to advise the property owner that the continuous consumption at this property could signify a leak that should be addressed going forward. Yeah, definitely. You may be aware that your continuous consumption has a legitimate explanation, and if so, this letter can be ignored. Well, seeing as how there has been nobody living here for the last few months, and most of the water has been closed, I do not think there is a legitimate explanation for this. I think we have a water leak, and we definitely need to try to find it. Fortunately, that should be fairly easy because there's, like I said, only a very few things that are actually open and even have the option to be leaking water. So that's definitely going to be a top priority for day one, day two. The other top priority is definitely getting heating in the rest of the house. So as much as we would like to be doing some really fun big ticket items today, that's just realistically not what's going to be on the schedule. It's going to be filled with a lot more mundane things like clearing a path to the propane tank so that they can fill that up easily, and doing some meal prep for the coming week because that always slows us down. We like to have our meals made ahead of time so that we don't waste a whole lot of time doing that. Oh, poor, sad, naive Shannon. This was back when she was still spending hours every day cooking her own meals instead of renovating. Back before she discovered the glory that is Factor meals. Yes, that is right. New year, same sponsor, because I genuinely love Factor meals. They have completely changed our entire workflow here at the house because rather than spending hours a week planning and cooking meals, I can now dedicate that time to working on the house or exercising the corgi, editing these videos, whatever it is. I can focus on that and still enjoy healthy meals with their fresh, never frozen meal plan. It's been stress-free. They are chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals, and they're ready to eat in just 2 minutes.
Plus, when they say you can pause your subscription and skip weeks, they're not kidding. And that is super important to me with our traveling lifestyle. We are not always at the house. And so I had my own personal subscription paused for a whopping 9 weeks while we were out on tour, and they didn't make me jump through any hoops or give me any trouble about it. I just paused it for as long as necessary, which, let me tell you, that's actually not that common. Usually companies give you a bit of a hassle if you want to pause your subscription. So if you'd like to try it out, if you want to free up a bit of time in your life for crafting or relaxing, exercising your dog, or just not cleaning tons of dishes, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50makes to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50makes at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Okay, let's go back to that list of mundane tasks.
You know, things like unloading the car into the house, maybe running some errands. We do know that we definitely need to get some insulation for these windows, because that's also something that we're going to try and tackle probably tomorrow. First thing is getting some plastic on these windows, and while we're out there, we might try and find a shovel as well, because we only have one little itty bitty baby shovel, and the other shovel that you saw us using last night was borrowed from neighbor Tim. Remember, we love neighbor Tim. So we pulled in, we used his driveway to park in because there was so much snow on the streets that there was literally nowhere to park anywhere around our house on the street. Obviously, we couldn't park in our driveway because it was full of snow. So we pulled into neighbor Tim's already shoveled driveway. We knocked on the door. We said, "Hey, we're back. Also, do you happen to have a second shovel we could use?" And he very thoughtfully lent us his. So we went at it, as you saw. And now that's all taken care of. But we would like to maybe try and get a properly sized shovel if possible. So that's what's on the agenda for today. Very mundane, boring things. And then tomorrow, hopefully, some more exciting stuff can happen.
They were, of course, completely sold out of regular winter shovels, so I guess we'll be borrowing some from neighbor Tim.
You don't want this teeny tiny little one?
1.5 x 2.1.
Now, it took us way too long to figure out which size roll would work best with our monstrous windows, but it ended up that the one we needed was the one that was on sale, so hooray for saving money. We also stopped at the thrift store on the way home, and we snagged this steamer for an absolute killer price.
All right, so we managed to get the last 4 rolls of plastic that they had in the store. Man, everyone bought everything out. No shovels, no nothing, very little bit of plastic left, but we got what they had. We will see how far we get with 4 rolls. If it's not enough, we're gonna do what we can today, and we'll go back and get more from a different hardware store later, I guess. What you thinking? It's gonna feel so nice to get all the paint off this though.
Yeah.
Like eventually one day, years from now, because like look, when I was washing this, did you hear that? Yeah, so all of the trim in a lot of the house, definitely in this room here, besides being incredibly brittle, as you probably saw, it is all painted with a matte paint, which is not the right type of paint to be painting trim and such, because I mean, it looks okay on camera other than being really blown out. We're gonna go back over here. It looks okay on camera, but up close it just attracts all of the dirt, and it really like hangs onto it. It settles in the little tiny grooves left on the paintbrush, and they just look really grimy and dirty up close. They're not pleasant to feel. You know, usually you should be using a I know I'm gonna forget the word. You're gonna be using a semi-gloss type situation, not a flat matte paint. It's no bueno. So I really cannot wait to give the doors and the windows and the trim and everything the love that it needs, because it is gonna be a lot of work, but it is gonna be so satisfying. And also then all of my trim can actually be clean and not, you know, grimy. Did we find the scissors?
So, what's the best? 1, 2. That's this much waist, about a foot.
Right.
And here, you know, it's a little bit of waist the whole length.
That looks better though.
Yeah,
That's better.
It works both ways.
I
We might do
kinda
more windows if we go up and down.
Yeah, I think, and I'm here, there's 2 of us, so it's gonna be less finicky than when you tried to do it alone. So I say let's do it the way that has the least amount of waste, and we can try to get as many windows done with the 4 walls we have. What you thinking, Peanut? Yeah, I'd say I got a little bit of tension in it, honestly. All right, 1 down, about a zillion more to go.
Is this stuff on sticking? Yeah. Foam the paint.
Which is probably a decent sign that there's some pressure in
Look
this.
good.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, that's why. Good lord. Wow.
So I just found that piece of wood on the ground. This is one of the storm window. You're supposed to put them during the winter. The actual house window is behind you. This piece was just on the ground right here. So yeah, this is just kind of free floating now. I'm guessing I should probably see if it wants to come out. I'll just take it off while I can, but seems to be pretty solid. Yeah, I think it's gonna survive the winter there. But yeah, just falling apart. And same thing on this window here. You can see the whole the foundation here kind of collapsed, so that this whole corner fell down. We need to deal with that in the summer. Where you can see like all of this here. This window is absolutely shut. I think this one I could dismantle and maybe save the glass before it breaks.
Should we? With the bottom, yeah.
The goal is that it sticks.
True. Let's wash it. If it seems like we're being really finicky about this point, that's because we are, but it's also because we have learned from experience. Like I said, we have both done this for many, many years. The weakest point of the whole plasticking system is definitely the tape. So making sure that the surface of your window that you're putting the tape onto is very clean, as smooth as possible, and then really, really dry goes a long way to ensuring that the tape sticks and holds for the whole winter, because definitely we've both had situations where it doesn't, and then it's annoying. So yes, we are being finicky, but also with good reason.
Really freaking good technique at home. I'm not sure what it was.
Let me just check the square. That's pretty good. Yeah. Well, the plastic's way cleaner than the windows. I'm just sitting here giggling at us because we're spending all this time being super fussy and trying to make sure we do a nice, good job and that the plastic is as smooth as possible so that, you know, when you look out the window, you don't see a bunch of wrinkles in the plastic. But I'm giggling because the thing is that our windows, like the window glass, is so dirty that it doesn't even really matter. Like, there could be a million little wrinkles in the plastic, and still the thing that is the most disturbing to the eye as you look out them is definitely how dirty the glass is. Add it to the list! And before you tell us that we're supposed to get all the wrinkles out by blow drying the plastic, yes, we do know that. Like I've said, this is not our first rodeo, but we have always found that adding all that tension in, because that is essentially what you're doing when you're shrinking it with the dryer, is like you shrink it and you put a bunch of tension on the tape, and yes, it gets rid of the wrinkles, but also we have found that that is what tends to make the tape pull away from the window frame. Like, even if you've cleaned it really well, like I said, the tape definitely the weak point. So we are choosing not to blow dry it. We're just applying it as smoothly as we can in the first go round. And like I said, we've done it like this for years in of our own various dwellings over the years, and it has worked really well. So I know you're supposed to blow dry it. We are just choosing not to.
The normal ones, it's perfect. So I think that with half a panel per.
Okay.
Like from here to here.
So we spent the rest of the day basically just doing this. It was a classic example of thinking, oh, this task should just take us an hour, maybe 2 maximum, and then it never does. All the angles on the bay windows presented a fun and interesting challenge, trying to find a way to make sure that the tape and the plastic was stuck down across all 3 angled windows. Some had peeling paint that had to be worked around because the tape wouldn't stick to it, while others were just really tricky to get at because they were completely blocked by antiques.
Okay, first floor is pretty much done, and I think we can say it's working because a lot of the plastic, especially the ones that are obviously not quite as airtight, are slightly pressurized. So basically the cold air is trying to come into the house and it can't because it's hitting the plastic. So it's kind of ballooning the plastic up, which means that it was a good thing that we're putting the plastic on the windows. Also, fun fact, discovered something I hadn't noticed before, and that is that we have a little graffiti artist here, a previous resident, I'm assuming, did some artwork, shall we say, on the glass of one of our windows.
Fucking Reba. It's a vandalist. Reba Greeno. If you could stop keying our windows, Reba, that'd be great. We'd appreciate it.
Okay, so we are switching gears for a little bit. We ran out of plastic and instead we're going to move on to some plumbing because our second floor doesn't have heating in it.
We're gonna save that for next week though.